So thanks very much for being here. My name's Jeff Cavey. I'm the Customer Success Director at Dataiku. So I have a very fortunate position of working with a lot of large and small customers on their AI journeys and obviously want them to leverage the Dataiku platform. Today, we're going to be talking about Aviva alongside Kate that we'll intro in a moment. So thanks very much for being here. Just a little bit on the partnership to date. So we've worked for a number of years, since 2018. We went from, I think, 5 to 10 initial data scientists to over 300 people using the platform across Aviva, which is amazing. And today we really want to talk about the democratization of AI and to give you a sense of that journey, obviously some of the highs, some of the lows, etc. So without further ado, Kate Bowler, can you introduce yourself?
Thanks, Jeff. Kate Bowler, as Jeff said, I work at Aviva. I've got 3 decades experience in financial services and insurance, but don't hold that against me. I started my journey in '96 at Richard Branson's disruptor brand for the Virgin Group, that is what is Virgin Money today, so I was there for a number of years. And I've been at Aviva for just over 15 years now. And as I was preparing for this, I worked out that I've been in data roles, customer data roles, for a decade, which makes me feel old. But yeah, so today I'm part of our insurance, wealth and retirement market, which is the biggest part of Aviva business in the UK. And I'm in the data team there that looks after, across all of that business, looks after data. And it's good to be here.
Awesome, Kate. And how are you? Are you good?
I'm okay. I was a little bit nervous, but I'm okay.
Good. That's awesome. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. So we've worked together quite a lot, so I know Kate well. But in preparation, I did some background checks. References. Sorry, not background checks. So I asked a couple of Kate's ex-colleagues, some of which you might know, so the likes of Orlando Mercado, Tom Spencer, Steph Mikowski, so a few people that you've worked with in Aviva's leadership team, and asked for a sense of like who you were as a person.
Oh gosh, okay.
Yeah, a bit of a worry now. No, and they all said that really like your whole passion is about people. And whenever we work together, I think that's true. And there's obviously a lot of talk about technology today, but really focusing on people is, I think, a missing skill in this world. And hopefully that's drawn out. One quote, I'm not sure who it's from, but her charismatic personality has built an enviable network. So, I mean, first of all, you should go for a drink with Kate later, but also quite a lot of pressure.
On me, I think, not you. But yeah, that sounds like Stephen Mikowski quote, because he was always a little tad jealous, because he was new into Aviva, and my yellow network at Aviva, he was always like, how do you know everybody and everything? So yeah, I reckon it was Steph.
Jealous Steph, okay. Cool, so let's get started. The title, as you can see, is about driving AI democratization. So starting at the top, what does AI democratization mean to you and to Aviva?
Okay, well, I'll start with Aviva. I think that's about growing our data capability. So it's enabling us all to make better data-enabled decisions. And it's also about driving better outcomes for our customers. And our customers can be people that buy our policies, but they could be businesses that buy the policies. They could be the intermediaries that sell our policies. So that's what we mean by customers. It's not just the end customer. And from my perspective, I see myself as a bit of a champion for one Aviva sort of data culture.
Yeah.
So particularly across the insurance, wealth and retirement business where I am now. And my mission really there is about transforming data into value.
Yeah.
Making it accessible and easier for more people so that they can make better decisions faster. And I can't remember which one, probably all 3 of those people you mentioned, Orlando, Steph or Tom, all say that I have this talent that I can easily translate the technical data to the non-data savvy people within the business, and that's what served me well in my career really in that respect. But I think it's all about developing and nurturing a data culture. So, and that's something that's important at Aviva. And I think to do that, you really need to shift the mindset of everybody. You need to be able to make sure that you strengthen the skill set, so it's not just those few that have got the skills. Make sure you've got the right tool set, so take the burden off the people and onto the machines, and also solidify the data set, because if the data set you're using is not relevant, and if it's not of a good quality, it's kind of garbage in, garbage out.
Excellent. You can already hear like the focus on people shining through, which I think is great. And it's actually a shared value between Dataiku and Aviva, which
Absolutely,
I think is
yeah.
part of why our partnership's so strong. So sort of taking a little step back, and I talked at the start about predominantly Dataiku working with the data scientists in Aviva. We've had a long relationship at that point. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about your work with that data science team where Dataiku was the data science workbench?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think it was about 2016, Orlando Mercado came to Aviva. Everybody at Aviva got really excited because this data guru in the industry was coming to Aviva to sort out our data. He came to build our global data science practice, which he did, and that's called Quantum. So that's where that journey started. My role in that was again about people, our customers. So it was to improve the data asset, part of our data asset, so that we could avoid the pitfall of garbage in, garbage out. So to make sure it was of a good quality that the data scientists could actually get value out of it. We unlock significant value for the business. So I think that's where Steph talks about respect to stakeholders and that enviable network. And it's a really complex business, Aviva, and I know, it's been going for 325 years. So there's sort of different businesses within it. So it's complex, and to do something across that, it was kind of groundbreaking, and it got people excited at Aviva about what we could do with data. So a couple of data programs later, I'd say, I actually moved with the data strategy team across into the customer science directors team. So that's Tom, who you've worked with, obviously. He's the person who brought Dataiku into Aviva.
Yeah.
But he built the customer science team and the technology from the ground up so that we could look at AI initiatives. And it was revolutionary, really, that we had this team that had got these sorts of skills, and it was very different to how we'd previously done data at Aviva. And that's the point that I got exposed to working, because I was on his leadership team. I got exposed to working with clever data scientists and clever data engineers, of which obviously I'm not one. But it's also when I became more aware of Dataiku. And I don't mind, sitting here today and saying that I just didn't twig what Dataiku was. So I heard the word a lot. And I'd had old conversations, is it Dataiku or Dataiku? And apparently that really doesn't matter. It's not the important thing. So, but I think I just didn't twig it. It wasn't just a data science workbench. So they talked about sampling and playing with data in a safe environment, all of that. And because I'm not a data scientist, and I had no inclination to learn code, I just thought it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So it's really ironic, I think, that I worked in that team for about a year. And then I moved into a role in the business, and it was there that I discovered what Dataiku can do. So then my Dataiku journey started. It's been a bit of a roller coaster, but it's been fun.
Cool. Life is a roller coaster, as Ronan Keating would say. But roller coaster implies that there are some highs and there are some lows. So maybe we should talk about that, because I'm sure people in the audience are probably more interested actually in some of the lows. So maybe you could give us a low or a challenge, let's call it.
A challenge. I don't think it's... I think people resonate with it. It's IT challenges. And it's probably me because I'm not that techie and I'm not that patient. That's not a good quality for when I talk to our technical sort of data people. But having to wait, because there's so much data transformation going on at Aviva.
Yeah.
And this is something that isn't the highest priority, so I've had to wait a little while to get onto EKS and version 12 of Dataiku, so the team are still on an older version and we can't do all the cool stuff that we want to do. So that's probably my low, I would say. It's
fair enough, and these large enterprises, they obviously have a lot of governance in place, and they have to put some standards in place. I think actually something I saw with some Nordics customers, they did this interesting rotation scheme where they put some of the data scientists that are in the business and rotated them and did like a secondment into the IT team so that they'd have a better understanding of like what it's like being on the other side, which I thought was really nice. I don't know how easy it is for every organisation, but I really like that secondment to try and get over that challenge.
Putting yourself in the other person's shoes, isn't it?
Empathy.
Yeah.
It's about showing empathy to like your colleagues. All right, cool. That was the low. What about the high? Like, give us a highlight.
You know what the high is, Jeff, and it's like nothing's going to compete with this. It's nothing to do with data. But last year, Dataiku kindly invited me to the Deloitte conference at Twickenham. And the headline act there was, so I actually got introduced by Sir Clive Woodward to Johnny Wilkinson. And then we had a nice chat for about half an hour. And I didn't ask him about the kick that he did. But that was just like, you're not going to get better than that. And I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't have gone to that conference.
That's awesome. So I'm not a salesperson, but if you work with Dataiku, you've got quite a good chance of meeting Johnny Wilkinson. So just maybe have a little think about that. No, that's really cool. Thanks so much. The second part of that question around the data science workbench and the kind of look back was just highlighting some of the value that that data science team got from Dataiku and from that initial transformation.
Yeah, and I mean, I know about some of this anyway, but I did have a chat with Tom, who's the customer science director of Aviva at the moment, and sort of said to him, well, why is Dataiku Aviva's data science workbench? It's our strategic workbench. It's what we're trying to get more people to use. And he said a few things. He talked about speed and agility, so record time in building models and things. Some of the work, the projects used to take 2 weeks, now take 2 days, which is amazing. The enhanced tech stack, this is a bit that I actually like myself, which is like you've got the built-in recipes, so making it easy for people that aren't really techie. The flexibility, so the custom models. I think my favourite thing is the no-code, low-code, because that like talks to people lightly who want to get insights out of data, but don't have that experience and haven't got the inclination. I want the answers. I don't want to have to do all of the hard work, so it makes that easier. Scalability, we've got 16 million customers, so we need scalability for dealing with volumes of data. Can't forget to mention the analytics capability, because I get in trouble for that if I didn't mention it. But I think the thing for me, if I was summarising it, efficiency. And there's a stat that's my favourite stat that Tom uses, is his team became 5 times more efficient using Dataiku. And I think that's a really exciting prospect to take that out of the customer science world and expand it into data more broadly within Aviva. And if we can just hit on a little bit of that, it will make a massive difference.
Thanks, Kate. We never get tired of hearing about those efficiency gains. So yeah, I think we talked obviously there about the data science team and the efficiency they gained, but then you started to talk about taking that out into the broader business, and this is about democratization. So what do you see as like the steps that you can take to get those less data savvy, sometimes dubbed as like the business people, like more comfortable and onboarded to work with data and to work with AI?
Yeah, well, Quantum I mentioned earlier, that still exists today. That is our global data science practice. It's the broader framework at Aviva for connecting people with data, but it's not just for data people. So it's about enabling everybody, irrespective if they've got technical know-how or not, to, and it's about changing the culture. So it's a journey, and Aviva's got lots of pathways for lots of the different skill sets. And as CEO, Amanda Blanc, she's very passionate about data. She knows what it can do. She's seen some of the benefits of it. And we've got something called the Aviva University. And that's got an academy, and that's dedicated to all things data. There's so much stuff on there, and it doesn't matter if you're an experienced data scientist who wants to get some more qualifications, or whether you're starting your journey somewhere in between, whether you want to build data or whether you want to consume it, there's something there for you. And we've got a team called Quantum, and we talk about Quantum as a quantum community. So everybody who's got in a data role, so we've got data job families. Yeah. Everybody who's in a data role is part of the community, but that's expanding out. So this is for everybody across all of Aviva. No matter where you are in the journey, there's something for you. So it's quite exciting times for data at Aviva. And I think for me, the thing Dataiku helps us achieve is it levels the skill level a little bit because of the no-code, low-code and coding. And it helps us be more collaborative because it's an end-to-end process.
So I've worked with you, but also with the Quantum team directly, and it really is impressive, like how they've decided to set up this community. They've put a lot of thought and investment into this Quantum practice. So we've seen the events that are running sort of around the UK, and we're lucky to be a part of that. Like you said, the academy and the university. There's a lot of thought around as you said, the individual job profiles
Yeah.
and like where those people are on their journey, and then try and meet the right learning paths for those people. So it's been fascinating to kind of watch and be part of as well.
Yeah, and from my perspective, it's been quite fascinating to learn and understand what there is, because, you know, before we really started to focus on data, it was just seen as something that people do, whereas now it's quite a cool thing, and people realise what we can do with it. So people are excited about it.
Yeah.
So it's helping us to change that culture, because to do that, to shift the mindset, we need the people in the business to understand it better, to what they want to do to answer their questions, not all to become data scientists.
And you mentioned as well, you obviously in a maybe a fortunate position where your CEO is quite happy to sort of push that message down. So with that strong sponsorship and with this sort of bottom-up approach of like really understanding where the individuals, the people are at, it's a really powerful mixed.
Absolutely, and we get companies like yourself, Click, and other companies in on those road shows that we do. So it's not all about Aviva, it's about bringing the outside in, letting people learn from that perspective. And I think for me, sort of, if I think about what I like to get out of data, I like to be able to make sure that I'm asking the right questions, that we can do the right analysis and then take the right action. Because if we're quite good at doing the first two, but if we don't take the action, then it's a little bit pointless.
I love how you'll see so many presentations about the flow of like the data lifecycle, and you've just completely simplified it in those 3 statements. I love it. Okay, cool. So we covered quite a lot about sort of the history, the path to democratization. I guess more specifically, because some people here want to hear about specific business problems. So can you maybe give us an example of that specific business challenge you're facing in insurance and wealth?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's specific but broad.
Okay.
So inadequate data quality, and I could imagine a lot of people understand that, because it's not, you know, just financial services company. Anybody who's got customers, data quality challenges. And that's where I really started looking at what I'm doing. So how do we industrialise our approach to better understand our data? How do we then build and execute a backlog? When we find the problems, how do we actually then go on to solve them? And to make sure that data quality isn't something we do in lots of pockets around the business, that it's something that we do once in the centre and that everybody can benefit from. So that's a big problem, with data pain points and nothing that nobody else doesn't deal with. Unintended consequences.
Yeah.
As an example, incorrect person data. So my birthday is the 2nd of the 10th, but if a person misheard me and typed it in wrong and I'm the 10th of the 2nd, there's another Kate Bowler. You know, these things happen all of the time. We've done lots and lots of work to improve that, and we've done that a lot. But I think it's important because it impacts the customer experience. And things like duplicate records, I think that's probably something people can understand. Aviva is a composite insurer.
Yeah.
I think we're the only one that sells insurance, wealth and retirement products and general insurance products. They're 2 separate businesses, but they're part of the Aviva group. So if you're Jeff and you buy your car insurance, Jeff, and you just say you're Jeff, but you got your pension when you were younger, and you use Jeffrey KV, your Sunday name, because it's a document and you've got to put your national insurance number on it, we might not recognise you as the same person. So we did an awful lot of work on that, and we've got much better of it. But for me, it was about being collaborative, so linking collaboration, standardisation of data, and big data. So we use a company called LexisNexis that I believe are here as well, to put the person at the centre of our data, so person ID. And that helps us deliver better value, gives the customer a better experience. And the reason we started that, because Aviva have got a sort of digital interface called My Aviva, and you can go and look at all your policies on there, see your pension, whether it's going up and down.
Yeah.
Look at your car insurance, it'll remind you to renew it. But if we haven't got the data right in the background, you don't get to see what you've got, and then you phone us up, and the data in the background also helps what ops are doing. So I'm in ops, I can't help you because I can only see what you can see.
Yeah.
And so that happens, and then the worst thing really is the customer either gets no offers or they get the wrong offer. So I try to sell you something you've already got because I think you're 2 separate people. So as I say, we've done loads on that.
And it sounds like a relatively a difficult challenge to solve, but a very obvious challenge to solve. And sometimes in conferences like this, we talk about predictive models and all the machine learning capability that has been built out and can be used. But sometimes you get value from really diving into just the basics of the customer data. Can you maybe explore and share with us a little bit more around sort of your mission and sort of the solution that you're thinking about to try and solve that challenge?
Yeah, absolutely, and it is a mission.
Yeah.
So I think what we're doing at the moment, what I'm trying to drive is rebuilding a data management product that sits in the centre in our customer marketing world, and that uses putting people at the centre of the data quality challenge. So we're using existing data, the best view of our customer data. We're using our existing AI tool, which is obviously Dataiku, but I'm sure other brands are available. And what you're doing at Dataiku in helping us is we're using solutions that aren't even on the market yet. So we're working with your business solutions team to build a foundation to replicate what we've already got, but instead of using somebody very intelligent who's written all the code for it, we're going to do low code, no code, so that we can use that and other people can use it, but the coders can still use it as well. So that'll be the foundation. We'll have a data quality sphere around that. That means we can all sort of stick to the same principles of data and managing it in that way, but then we go out into spokes so that people in the different parts of the business can look at things, for example, like data quality. We need to be able to measure it and look at it. But in our general insurance business, critical data is different. So insurance and wealth, it's really important. If you're going to retire, if I think, don't know how old Jeff is actually, but so I'll be careful what I say here, but if I think Jeff's 45 and he's actually 55, you've had a hard life.
I know, I was going to say.
You're the wrong person. You need to be of retirement age, you see, for this to work. But yeah, so if we've got that wrong, that's a massive impact on the customer, because if their pension's been moving across as they've got old and all that sort of stuff. So it's really important we get it right so we can give the customer that best view.
I'm always interested in how companies, by the way, I think your microphone's a bit out.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, bring it in a bit closer. I'm always fascinated by how Aviva's got these business units. So imagine these big vertical business units versus the horizontal capability. And you talked at the start about being a translator. A missing skill, I think, in the data world. Quite often, it's really important to be able to translate from technical to actual business problem. And I find it fascinating how you've really tried to take some of the central customer marketing data function capability and then apply that to your business unit.
No, absolutely, and I think it's here.
A bit closer. Maybe hold it.
Maybe I'll just hold it, shall I?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not awkward at all. So I think that's really important, because what we tend to do in the different parts of the business is use the data that we've got, rather than using all of the data at Aviva, which is massive when you put it all together. So yeah, absolutely, and I think that's what's the heart of this. We don't need to just go and look in the same place in insurance and wealth, but we've got a lot more data in the centre that can give us the answers to some of the questions we've been asking. So yeah.
So how did Dataiku sort of help you on that journey?
The people, data, governance.
Yeah.
I know people in data don't always like governance, it's so important. And then also the tech. So I think it's about working with Dataiku and sort of having established that relationship over a number of years. We can sort of see the benefits. Sort of people's strategy allows everyone to collaborate regardless of their level, and I know I've always talked about that, but it's really important, because what it's doing is it helps us level everybody, but it also helps us expand so we can get out to other people. So you've worked with our audit team. They're using Dataiku to do audits, which is like quite a cool data audit team, really, when they're using tools to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
In terms of the data strategy, I think that's where using Dataiku allows us to keep the data where it is, and that keeps the business happy. So it's not always moving around or being copied. You can access it through Dataiku, and it can stay in Snowflake, whatever else it's in, and it's more secure. So it's like a data anchor, really. And I think in terms of governance, make sure we're compliant.
Yeah.
It's kind of got an audit trail on it, so that's always good.
Especially in an industry like insurance, where it's highly regulated. Yeah.
So it governs, but it helps us mitigate the risk. It helps us flag what's wrong. And I think the fourth thing for me is the tech. And you know I'm not a techie, but I've got to talk about tech. It allows us to use the best tech today, but it means that we've got options for the future. So it keeps that open for us. So it's like future-proofing tech for the future. And remember earlier when I talked about my favourite stat, 5 times more efficient.
Yeah.
It's all those things that's helping us do. And if we can just get a little proportion of that out into the wider business, it'll be amazing.
You get some value. I think being here and seeing the amount of tech that is available, like your last point around flexibility of technology and be able to leverage the ecosystems that's going to develop in the next 5-10 years or even sooner, it's a key part of our product and our proposition. So I'm pleased Aviva are getting some benefit out of that. So we're getting close to the end, and first of all, I really want to thank Kate. Hopefully you've been able to hear her for the majority of the talk. But maybe, Kate, you could leave us with just one snippet or one extra little nugget that you'd like to share with the audience.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised it's not a techie thing at all. It's good governance, and I know it sounds a bit dull, but it's like I learned from Stefan actually that it's really how important it is. It's a key aspect that quite often gets overlooked, and for me, it's about having a strong relationship with data governance and data privacy, with risk and legal. They've got a role to play, and that relationship with those people should underpin any customer data sort of related program that you're running. It's essential they are in the room from the very start, and it's also important that they're your default position and route to ratifying any data decisions that you're making. So, and each of those things is really vital for the program's success. And if I'd not done that in the programs that I did, we wouldn't have done them. We'd have gone up against that usual thing that possibly happens in other in companies, and it happens at Aviva as well. We'll think about data governance down the line when we've built something cool. But if you work with them from the beginning, they help you set your parameters, they help you set your boundaries, they help you push your boundaries as well.
Yeah.
So data governance people were going, oh, you could do this. So, I didn't think I'd be allowed to do that. So it's really beneficial for everybody. And then they're in the room with you when you're presenting to the exec to get something signed off. And they look to them, not to me.
Yeah.
And they go, well, if data governance and risk and legal are happy, we're happy.
Awesome. So at the end, bringing people along on the journey sounds so obvious, but actually finding out who those governance people are and then bringing them into a meeting, being able to champion like your initiatives, it's common sense. But so we're at the end. Hopefully you've learned something today about Dataiku, about Aviva. We're going to be available, but can everyone just give a round of applause to Kate Bowler?